feared and feared through Killarney. Now I'm back to hitching with the wind. But if Mickey Flynn should ever find me, I'll throw me caution all behind me and square off on that son of a bitch again. He cracked open a river too, he beat me Sunday through and through, and such over my unconscious frame. I won me healthy sheriff fights, well lucky son still had me life since Mickey Flynn beat me dumb and lame.
Ooh, we are chasing the pennant tonight. We are back from our week-long hiatus as the world has started to come back together as we near the end of the first wave here of the coronavirus. We are Chasing the Pennant podcast. I am hosting this one tonight. I am Shane, and I am joined, as always, by my right-hand guy, Rob. Rob, how are you, sir?
I just ate a half pound of edible cookie dough, so I'm doing pretty well right now.
That is the most Caucasian girl thing I've ever heard in my life. So quarantine's clearly treating you well. Good for you.
Hey,
Rob.
I still have a pound and a half left, so I'll be good for the next day or so.
That's absolutely disgusting. Just so you know
that.
Then
It doesn't matter. We're in quarantine. Nobody's going to see me.
That is true. You're an essential man.
I have plenty of time to burn it off before I have to go back out in public.
Good luck. Good luck. Then I have Boric over here. Boric, how are you, sir?
Well, as I said before the podcast, I'm doing very chipper because, of course, I got an internship. So you have the very happy side of me from here on out, and I've been working on that a lot. Then I had a few very nice Pennsylvania brewery beers, about 3 of them since completing a couple articles today. So I've been doing really well today. It's been an enjoyable day, and we had some great burgers for Mother's Day. So
isn't the word chipper banned amongst Phillies fans?
Oh my God, Larry, chill. It's all okay. But Boric, man, congratulations. I know you just graduated school. You also got yourself an internship working with an awesome guy over there in Jamie. So congrats, man. I'm proud of you. You're doing well for yourself.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
You got it, sir. Then I got Andrew over there. Andrew, how are you? You made the drive back home. You went through a couple states that sucked. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Like you said, finished up the drive yesterday or Saturday night, left Friday. So it was a 2-day trip. Got to experience a couple different states and what they're doing through the, everything going on, the quarantine and stuff. And I made sure to bring myself a couple cases of Yingling as well, because that Yingling is not in Oklahoma, because it's brewed in Pennsylvania, so it doesn't extend to Oklahoma. So I made sure to bring that. So I'm enjoying one of them while doing this podcast.
So how many cases did you bring?
Beer.
What was it?
How many cases did you bring? I need to know.
So I brought 2 for me. I finally found the Phillies cans, and then one of my good friends down here, he actually made a trip up to Philadelphia a few years ago and had one at Citizens Bank Park, and it was his favorite. It's not his favorite beer, so I brought him a case back for him too. So.
All right, and how long do you expect this to last?
It will last a while because I'm not the biggest drinker, so it'll definitely spread out. So it'll definitely last. Honestly, probably close to the end of the summer.
All right, that's wild. Good for you, though, man. Then the last guest we have on here, the namer of the show, we got Sean. Sean, did you come up with something creative to say?
Yeah, I'm pretty jealous of Bork for being able to be done college and move on to an internship. Because today was my kind of last day of freedom before I have a long finals week ahead of me. And I spent it all day working on an assignment due at midnight that I haven't finished yet. So I know what I'm going to be doing when I get off this podcast.
Jesus. What is it on?
Sean's saying move along, everybody, tonight.
No, we can take our time. It is on business analytics, and it sucks. It's a class on coding.
That honestly sounds incredibly dry.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
It's worse than it sounds, I promise.
It's worse than it sounds. Well, thank you guys all for sticking around and coming back and enjoying a show with us again. Again, we took that week off. Finals week is approaching for all of us. Some people are graduating. Some people are entering finals week now. We had Andrew obviously going back home to Oklahoma for work. It's a weird time. It continues to be a weird time. However, throughout this week, more rumblings have come up. They've also already been backed down on or backed out of by those who kind of started these rumors. But just picture July 4th, getting ready for a cookout, fireworks are going, firing everywhere, fucking America, and our pastime's back. What if baseball comes back on July 4th and makes this nation whole again? We've seen the way that the country as a whole rallies around sporting events and what that means and the emotion that comes behind it. What if this game comes back and it's July 4th and we get to start this baseball season and start the hopeful end of this process of beating the COVID virus at this point? What if it happens on July 4th?
I mean,
anyone.
Me personally, I haven't missed a sporting event that's happened in the last month, unless it's at 5:30 and it's Korean baseball. But the 1 a.m. Korean baseball games, I've watched every one of. I watched UFC last night for the first time in my entire life. I need sports. So July 4th, in my opinion, is too far away. But if this is the precaution we have to take, so.
What are you doing at 1 o'clock in the morning that you can watch an entire baseball game?
Playing the show. Come on.
You know what? This is why you don't have an analytics paper done, Sean.
Yes.
That's ridiculous. That's good for you, though. I mean, that's commitment.
And I've been watching both of the 1 a.m. games have been my NC Dinos. So
your NC Dinos.
My NC Dinos, yes.
Yes, that's my team as well. Pick them in.
Why? Why is that your team? What's happening?
So I picked it because I like their uniforms, and me and my friends, just because they're betting fanatics, we all wanted to pick a team, and I had like a strategy because this is how I kind of picked my XFL team too. I went with one of the teams that had like the third or fourth best odds to win the championship. So they're not the favorite, but you know that they're at least going to be kind of in the mix. So I said pick one of like the third or fourth place team, and it was either the Dinos or like maybe the Giants or something. And I looked at the Dinos uniform. First off, they're the Dinos. Like, come on, that's an amazing name. Second,
sounds like a single A team from like just Bong Schwab.
I just love the uniforms. I love the name. I didn't want to root for the Giants for 100 different reasons. So, and then I figured out that Altair was on the team, and I thought Phillies fans aren't going to pick that team because Altair's on it and everybody hates him. But
that's accurate.
I was very wrong about that. Philadelphia has embraced the Dinos as their favorite team because of him. So,
I just cannot stand Aaron Altair. But good, man. I'm glad that you're finding ways to sit there and not complete your term papers for your semester right now. Pick any other team other than the Dinos. I'd have been a little more pleased. I can't stand Aaron Altair, but you're watching baseball nonetheless, and I appreciate that. And Scott appreciates the fact that you watched UFC yesterday. Good for you. I forgot that I muted a text thread in my phone, and there's guys I work with, and when I finally opened it up, there was 99 texts in the first 3 fights alone from them.
God.
And neither of them watch UFC, so I don't know what the fuck they were talking about. I still haven't read them. But there it is. We need sports back. Moral of all of this is we do absolutely need sports back. Boric, you're a guy who goes to more games than almost all of us. You're not going to be able to watch these games in all likelihood when baseball does return, and probably at any point this season in Citizens Bank Park. But what would it mean to you just in general to be able to sit there and watch these games at home again? Crack your beers at home, watch your baseball.
Yeah, it would definitely be awesome, especially on July 4th, because that's obviously a great day for the nation if we're able to do it. I'm just hoping all the proper precautions are taken. We don't rush into it. Just like everyone's concerned, you have a plethora of players concerned in every league about coming back too soon. I just hope they do it right, because if we're able to do it at that time, I think there's no better time than that to do it, just because of the big celebration it could be for the sport coming back. I think it could also be great for baseball's ratings. So I would very much enjoy it, and I'm stoked and excited for hoping baseball does come back at that time.
Well, we got people who are all in on Korean baseball right now who are going to lose their goddamn mind when that stops being televised, when sports do come back. We do need baseball. We need it all back, man. We do. But you mentioned there are so many people in the game, so many people outside the game who fear coming back too soon, and throughout history, there have been different events, different illnesses that have come across, American soil or anywhere in the world. And you get hit with your initial wave, and it's not great. And this has not gone well. This is a terrifying time. We're seeing, changes to our daily lives that may never return to the way that they were before. We don't know yet. Then you get that moment where, okay, you've flattened that curve. Things are starting to look, better, and you start reopening, these different areas. And then if you look back in history and you take a look at things like the Spanish flu, and that second wave was actually more deadly than the first, and you start wondering, shit, have we done enough? Is it safe enough? And none of us can truly know that answer right now. But as a level of fear, where do you guys kind of put your need to have sports back to restore some sort of normalcy into the things that bring us joy versus taking that extra layer of precaution? Rob, I'll go to you, man.
Well, I think that one of the things that maybe is a little bit undervalued here is the mental health aspect of it. And I think that if you do in some way bring back some sort of normalcy, that'll help alleviate some of the strain, the mental strain that people are going through, because we're all focused on, getting through this physically okay, making sure more people don't get sick. But I feel like a lot of people are turning a blind eye to, this abnormalcy that we're dealing with. It's putting a lot of strain on people who have anxiety, who have depression and that kind of thing. And, people who deal with abuse at home or stuck at home all the time, people who have addiction problems and because there's nothing better to do are falling back into their bad habits. So I think that going back to some sort of normalcy will help alleviate all that kind of stuff and all of the, at least a little bit of the mental strain on people, and bringing back baseball is part of that. So for that reason, yes, I would support bringing back baseball on the 4th of July if it is possible.
It's different, man. I liken everything to different sports analogies. Imagine yourself being in a position where, it's early on in a boxing match, where you can pull UFC from yesterday. It's early on and you're getting your ass kicked. And we are right now. Like, that's just for the last 6-8 weeks, we have all been getting our ass kicked by this. We didn't know if we were going to make it through the 12th round, right? We keep fighting. We finally knock its ass down. 10th round, you turn around, everyone around is hyped up. It's July 4th. It's to make the equivalency here. Baseball's back. Everyone's hyped. We think we got it. And then in slow cinematic fashion, you turn back around to sit there and see it's getting the fuck back up. And that's that second wave, and how difficult all the aspects of things that you just brought out, because you bring up really valid points. For a lot of people right now, take those who have, supreme mental health and they are fine. And then there are people who do not. And Robbie mentioned all of them. Think of it, the kind of battle that they're going to look at when they know we all did not beat this. And we're going to have to go through this again, and how much longer this one may be. Wouldn't it kind of behoove us all to make sure we get this thing right, or as right as we can, to limit the potential damage into a second wave?
Well, absolutely. But I think that now that we know, I guess, how we're able to control the first wave, I think it would maybe open some things up that we could control the second wave while somewhat keeping things open, if that makes any sense.
In part. Obviously, so many things have kind of come into play at this point that strengthens or weakens the notion of, hey, we're doing the right thing here, opening things up. We have to see what's going to happen, but we're going to test it in places that pose the least risk. So the least densely populated places you're going to find, those are the places that you're going to see start to slowly backen up. We can evaluate what happens and what occurs in those first 14 days, 28 days, each cycle there. We can evaluate the information that's given. Hospitals and medical teams are beginning to sit here and take volunteers, all of which at this point, or all of whom, at this point, are in the medical field. they want to say, hey, go out in the world, try to catch COVID. We need to see if what we're doing right now in our vaccine workshops are working. That's crazy, but it's something that we have to do because we have to sit there and collect as much information as possible on this thing to ensure the safety long term of everyone in this country or across the world, everyone that's impacted by this at this point. It's a terrifying thing. You start to have to wonder, you have to weigh, I want to return to normalcy, but at what cost? Is normal ever going to be normal again? And we've kind of been beating dead bush with this thing. It's every single week we come on and we talk about, we do a bit of a COVID update at this point. And this has been the first time that we, our Phillies own manager, Joe Girardi, had mentioned he had heard rumblings of baseball coming back in early July, early to mid-July was, I think, what he had said. And they're planning on opening up, ballparks to players, not to fans, but opening up home ballparks and not making them travel to one location. And things were beginning to look back up, and then we start hearing and reading articles and different things about the potential second wave and that it could in fact be more deadly than what this first one has been. And you have to start weighing the costs, what is ultimately going to be the best for all of us. And that's a hard decision to make. I don't envy the Manfreds right now. I don't envy anyone in a government position that can sit there and say, we believe it's safe to open. This is a truly, truly terrifying time. But going through this process, we understand that our game is going to change a little bit. We'll understand, in a shortened season, and an unexpected shortened season at that, not one that they could have planned for. One of the changes that they're considering is, and this is something we've talked about before, and I'm just curious to get everyone's stance and what they believe long-term of this, is the universal DH. Should baseball come back? The NL is looking to adopt that for the 2020 season. This is something baseball as a whole has tried to put in for years. This has been, trying to find uniformity in this game and playing one league, one style, one rule. I loathe the DH. I know several other of us on this show at one point or another also loathed it. But at this point, have you kind of changed? Do you believe that it would be a one-year thing, or do you believe that kind of gives baseball the platform it needs or the opportunity it needs to say it worked? Fans are back because everyone's going to watch the first sports that's on TV. Ratings are certainly not going to take a hit when it returns. That they're going to use that to say, we're going universal DH for the rest of the time. Rob, I'm going to start with you on this one because I know you're an offense guy.
I am an offense guy, but I'm also a traditionalist. And one of my favorite things, my favorite little quirks about baseball is, that odd occasion when a pitcher hits a home run. We got to see Joe Blanton hit a home run in the World Series. We got to see Robert Person have the grand slam and a 3-run homer in the same game. Really? That's a pretty fun game to be at. We saw that Phillies-Giants game where Cole Hamels gave up a home run to Matt Cain, and then the bottom half of that inning homered off of Matt Cain. So that's one of the fun little quirks about baseball, that if you go with the universal DH, you don't get to see that again. If they were going to make it the same for both leagues, I would rather they just get rid of the DH altogether and have pitchers hit in both leagues. I think that would be more fun. I mean, another one, Bartolo Colon hitting a home run. We'll never be able to see that again. So
sexy.
That was off what, James Shields?
I think, yes, it was out in San Diego.
Shields and Samardzija are two guys that will forever have an opportunity to pitch on a roster, and they both have always stunk. Drives me absolutely crazy.
You are not wrong about that.
Like, each just big body, traditional, physique of what a starting pitcher should be, who can eat up 200 innings for you, and they always do, but at what fucking cost? They're awful. Always hated them, and they were always potentials to go to Philadelphia at some point. Always in the center. I hate the two of them, but keep going.
Well, no, I was just using that as a means to nail home my point. I think that pitchers should be hitting all throughout baseball. I don't think it should just be in the National League. I think it should be in the American League too. Unfortunately, that's not the direction that we're headed in. And while uniformity throughout the American and the National League is a good thing, to me, this is the wrong kind of uniformity. I would rather have pitchers hitting at least in the National League, but really I'd rather have it throughout baseball. So no, I am not in favor of the universal DH.
I will say there's one thing that has kind of changed for me at this point. This is kind of going against everything I've always said. I am not opposed if the starting pitchers hit, but the relief pitchers, the second a relief pitcher enters the game, as does a DH. I'm a little bit more okay with that. It does speed up the game in particular things. I don't need to see a Jake Diekman hit. It's be hilarious, but I don't need to see him hit. It may lessen your bullpen. You may be able to carry 5 arms instead of 6. It would still implement some sort of strategy throughout the process of that game. It wouldn't totally eliminate everything, and it would incentivize, starting pitchers to stay in at some point. It's just, I don't hate that idea. But ultimately, if it needed to be one way or the other for the entirety of a game, Rob, you're right. In my opinion, that's baseball. You got to play both sides. That's one of the things that makes that game great. And it does. It drives me crazy to sit there and see, as much as I love Aaron Nola, the fact that he walks up there and he's never worked on hitting a day in his life. Like, he's just someone, he just woke up one morning in, swampy ass Louisiana or wherever the hell he's from, and he threw 90 miles an hour, and they were like, don't ever touch a bat again. And he didn't, and he looks ridiculous up there. I would like him to not look ridiculous. I would like that beautiful set of hair and awkward little smile that doesn't look at cameras when pictures are taken. I would like him to be able to hit a respectable 180, 185. And I'm cool with that.
Speaking of Aaron Nola,
what about him?
Now you bring this up. This brings up one thing I don't like about pitchers hitting, and this happened in a game that I was at a couple years ago. Phillies had the bases loaded, 1 out, Nola at the plate. He's in a 3-1 count, and you'd figure as a pitcher he's just keeping his bat on his shoulder the whole way, right? Nope. Swings the next pitch, grounds into a double play. They don't score that inning.
If he took batting practice, he'd have been fine.
By the way, I'm wearing that beautiful maroon Aaron Nola jersey that I got.
Of course.
Worst Phillies jerseys.
It's not great, man. It is not great. Those awful 300-pound jerseys, because there's just so much cotton from I don't know, 1906. I'd take that. They also had a badass P, although it does kind of look like Pittsburgh Pirates P now that I think about it, but it's still fucking badass. And even that I would take over that hot mess that you're sporting over there. But way to stick to brand, kid. It's well done.
Beauty.
It is well done. Sean or Andrew, man, either of you guys, I think both of you were kind of on our side as well in terms of supporting the, non-DH.
Well, this goes back to what we said on the pod before when we were talking about the DH, or when we were talking about baseball coming back more. It seems like the MLB is trying to institute rules that they've been trying to push forward for years.
Yes.
And now they have an excuse to do it, and then they're just kind of going to leave these rules in there, like mound visits or, shortening the games. This is something they've talked about, and it can work for an abbreviated season, but that they're going to get good reviews and try and keep it. So it's almost like they're trying to push the DH because they've been trying to make it in the NL for years.
I agree. And again, I believe that baseball will take a look at the numbers that will obviously be inflated in terms of what the TV numbers were in previous years. We're going to want to watch every single thing that's on TV right now. I mean, think about it. If there's still a work from home order, I was talking about this at work. If there's a work from home order, you could legitimately televise everywhere, every single game that goes on. You could just start playing games at 8 a.m. Just move all the way up through 10 o'clock at night, 10:30 at night, and just have 3 channels committed to baseball if it's the only sport that's on at this current juncture, and just play baseball. People are going to watch all freaking day. They watched UFC. They watched 97 fights yesterday for the UFC. They all stink because it's the UFC. People are watching Korean baseball on freaking purpose. It is kind of awesome, by the way. But still, they're watching it on purpose because it's on. So baseball's going to see those numbers and they're going to say, Well, it's because we instituted the universal DH. People like offense. That's why. It's because we took away those mound visits. It's because we did this, because we did that. See, it works. Going forward, this is now our game. And that's what's wrong. That, to me, making major changes based on the circumstances that we've been dealt in 2020 at this point seems irresponsible. And I think that baseball is going to do it because I don't trust baseball for anything. Andrew, what do you got on it?
So I think for me personally, I'm a traditionalist as well, so I'd rather there be no no DH would be involved. But in this case, if they were to bring it in and it's going to be, all right, we have to implement the DH or there's no baseball, I'm going to say, okay, put the DH in for this year. But like you guys, I'm afraid it's not going to be this year. It's going to go on for more than just this year, and that's my concern. Honestly, another big thing that came up that I would be interested to see is how the players view it. And I mean, obviously a lot of guys have come out and spoke on it. I think Madison Bumgarner, he obviously loves to hit, so he said he wants to continue hitting. Jake Arrieta has always been a decent hitter. He's a guy that said he wants to keep hitting. Kind of a throwback, but old pitcher, old Philly that I really liked was a good hitter, Randy Wolf. I think I heard him speak on it before, and he wants to keep it. So I'm interested to see. Obviously, all these things got to get passed by the MLB Players Union and everything. So I'm interested to see on how they vote, like, because it's going to come down to them as well, because it's got to get past the board in that sense, along with the commissioner. So I'm interested to see when it comes down to the question this year, if is that going to be a holdback for the players to kind of get back out there as well, because they're not going to want to pass it, and maybe they're afraid of it as well. So I think that's an interesting concept that's might come up and kind of cause an extra stir in getting the game back sooner rather than later. So I think that's something to keep an eye on. But for me personally, if they have to do it, then yeah, go for it. But their big concern is health for the pitchers as well, because I listened to the Phillies talk with Jim Salisbury, had an interview with Cole Hamels, and he was saying pitchers are going to be lucky to get past starting pitchers are going to be lucky to get past the sixth inning this year.
He's always lucky to get past the sixth inning.
I guess at this point in his career, yes, but
his entire fucking career.
But he's gonna be a bullpen piece by the end of the year, I guarantee.
No.
Yeah, he is.
No, he won't. He'll be on the IL.
Or that.
Yeah, he would have been on the IL, right? If they started on time.
If they started on time, he would be. But no, just
now they said he's feeling good.
But he brought up an interesting case, saying the pitchers are going to need at least 4 starts before they start the season, and they'd be lucky to get through 6 or 7 innings just because of the wear and tear of how many games they're going to have to play in a row and everything. So he was saying how much the rosters are going to have to expand. So I think in that sense, I think pitchers are also might be a little concerned in hitting too, just because, I mean, I guess swinging a bat's too much on their arms and it kind of just puts more wear and tear on it.
It's all valid points. And again, I don't think that I would be angry at the MLB for doing anything at this point to get baseball, on the field, so long as it's safe and so long as it's smart. My whole thing is I understand what the numbers are going to look like come 2021 when you take a look and you see when baseball did return. And I can understand the argument being presented that the numbers were only that way, not because that there was a global pandemic going on and we were without sports for the longest time that we've been without sports in any of our lifetimes, but because they made those changes. And that they're going to go forth with that case, and the players and everyone's going to be on board with it, and they're going to say, you know what, go for it. And that's not something that I think is smart. And I could see it going that way, and I think that's the hardest part of all this. So it will be interesting. It'll be interesting to see, from the standpoint of, obviously we know the commissioner's stance, we know baseball stance as a whole, but the players union, you do see so many people speaking out, but you don't hear a whole hell of a lot from the pitchers in general and how that impacts their game, because there are guys who say, I think that at this point, if they end up saying, we're going to go to universal DH, I think that they should still allow for the opportunity for someone to sit there and say, it's our home field. We've built our team in a way that we have pitchers who can hit. We're going to not use the DH tonight, and your starting pitcher is going to have to hit. keep creativity in these things, keep strategy in these things.
That was the other thing I was going to add is that, like, if you have a lineup with a DH, like, and I know American League teams, they find a way around this, but, like, what's the point of a bench? You know, like the whole point of having a bench, I mean, obviously for reserves, obviously for late inning, you know, you have defensive replacements or you have offensive replacements, whatever the case may be. But, like, you could have 9 guys out there that are your best 9 guys that are the best in the field and at the plate. So then, you know, your bench guys are going to sit there unless, you know, a starter gets an off day.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
you're
kind
right.
of the thing now.
No, I was going to say Sean's really right on that. That's going to make other guys lose jobs. But, I mean, I was going to say with all you guys, I agree that there shouldn't be a DH because there's some guys, like if you think of Carlos Zambrano was a better damn hitter than he was pitcher. If another guy that I look at, if you look at Micah Owings, another guy that was a much better hitter than he was pitcher. The dude hit in his career freaking 283 with 35 RBIs and 9 home runs. So I'm pretty sure if that guy was still in the game and you told him he couldn't hit anymore, I think he would be pretty pissed off. So there's some cool memories of guys. He was one of those two were some of the most fun back in the earlier 2000s, like 07 to 2012s to watch. But I don't think they should take it out of the game because there's guys like Mad Bum that's a great pitcher and a great hitter. Kershaw swung it good at times. So there's many guys that hit home runs. Obviously, Rob referenced Hamels. You have Greinke that knows how to swing the bat. So I don't think by any means they should take it out. If they take it out for this year, I'm fine with that. But I'm worried, like you all, that they're going to use it as some stupid ratings way to put it in for the rest of eternity. And hopefully that doesn't happen.
It'll be
Everybody
interesting
needs
to
more
see.
offense, man. It's terrible.
It's the strategy of this game is what makes this game beautiful. It is not for dumb people. I've said it, you know, as long as I've been involved with this game, you know, you simply just cannot be unintelligent and appreciate this game. And to continue to change it for those simpletons out there who can't understand the philosophies between, you know, and the, you know, the ideologies of all these decisions that come out, don't change it, man. Just don't change it for them. It's all I can say is stop trying to appease everyone because you end up pissing off more people. And I can totally see the MLB doing it. You know, they have a unique opportunity with potentially being the first of the 4 major sports to return. And I can see them making some decisions for 2020 that will then carry on through, you know, 2021 and beyond. Whereas I do believe these other organizations, if in a similar position, if things needed to be different for this specific year, would have been for this specific year, and they wouldn't have made rash decisions on forced agendas or pushed agendas going into the following season. And I just don't trust baseball that way. But we've went on here about 30 minutes. We do this pretty much every single show, but our Sunday shows, those of you guys who typically listen to us, we have 2 shows throughout the week, either Monday or Tuesday night, usually drops on Tuesdays, and then Thursday nights usually drop on Thursday night. Those are our standard shows, and then we get into our Sunday shows, which are usually a little more lighthearted. Now, we were off the mic for, I believe, at least a week, maybe a little bit more there, as we all, you know, got ourselves situated with some of us being sent back to work, other people finals, just everything we mentioned at the forefront of this pod. But we are going to kick it into our typical Sunday gear at this point with the 5 of us that are on tonight and go a little bit more lighthearted. But before I do, and before I turn this over to Andrew, just food. If you have not heard me advertise these guys yet, it means this is your first time listening. And if it is your first time listening, thank you. Do the right thing. Call Just Food. It's 215-794-FOOD, 215-794-3663. Treat yourself. Take it home. Not only do they have absolutely delicious food, they have a guy there named Asian Rob. You can call him that because I call him that. Asian Rob. He's wonderful. He's multi-talented. He's currently doing our logo. He is also illustrating a children's book. I shit you not. This guy does everything. And if we could support him in any particular fashion, we'd like to do so. So when we have the details of that book, when it is released, it is something that should be in every children's classroom. It should be in every nursery for all newborns. And there are going to be a hell of a lot of them after this quarantine. Get this book for whomever's going to sit in that rocking chair and read to your child. Asian Rob. We like to support him any particular way that we can, but the very first way that you can do so at this juncture is supporting his restaurant/catering service. It is Just Food, 215-794 Food. Treat yourself, take it home. And Andrew, I'm going to send this one over to you now. Last Sunday, we were able to sit here and get through 15 to 18 of your closest rated polls. We're going to pick up where we left off from last week. I believe you have 6 or 7 left for us. So, Andrew, go ahead, man.
Yeah, so round 2 of these daily polls, and like you said, I have 6 or 7 left. But actually, I'm going to add one more real quick. And this is one that me and you, Shane, talked about a little bit on Twitter. And we were kind of talking about a few different things. And the question will be, when you finish a bowl of cereal, do you leave the extra milk or do you finish the milk and drink it? And I'll have you go last, Shane. We'll start with Bork.
Okay. Thanks for putting me on the spot, fellow buddy.
It's cereal. You're 25 years old.
I'm just making
I know
a
he was on
joke
Twitter
here.
like 2 days ago. So
How hard is this? Come on, man.
No. I'm saying I ain't a waster. I drink the damn milk. I don't waste milk. I drink the damn milk. So I have to say. I rest my case.
That wasn't much of a spot if you already know your freaking answer.
all right, you Rob.
Trying to make a joke, Shane, and you just jumped on it. So it's all right.
Oh man, I'm with Bork. I'm not a waster. I do drink that milk. It actually tastes pretty good, especially if you have something like Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Cinnamon
You kind
Crunch.
of have like that cinnamony taste of milk, which is pretty good. So yeah, I drink the milk.
Or Cocoa Puffs, because then it's like chocolatey.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Y'all
the
just eat
cheap
shit
way of
that's
making
bad for
chocolate.
you all the time.
Cocoa Pebbles.
If it's not bad for you, then it probably tastes bad.
What? All right, whatever.
Sean.
Yeah, I'm also not a waster. I try every time when I do it to pour the perfect amount of milk so that there's none left at the end. But it's like, the last bite of cereal, you get the last like sliver of milk. But other than that, I don't waste it.
And then Shane.
I am not a pro masticator like all of you, and I eat too slow. So I cannot sit there and commit the milk to that bowl. Instead, I have my dry bowl of cereal, something good, something like Total, without the raisins. Like I just want something that tastes like nothing, that does its fibrous job.
Cornflakes?
It is not. It's brown. That's all I know, and it creates movement. And in the morning, I appreciates that. So you have your fibers. I have that too. It is not fun being me. So I have my milkless bowl of cereal with a glass of milk next to me because I'm insane. And I just like to sit there and just eat the cereal. And as time goes on and things get too dry, take a sip of milk and you move on in life. That way, neither of these get wasted and neither of them are tainted by each other. If I was to sit there and commit milk to that bowl, my mastication process is way too slow. Way too slow. It turns to mush, and I can't be bothered. It just that doesn't work for me.
That is the strangest thing I've heard all day.
Was it the word mastication? Because I've been holding on to that.
No, the fact that you have a separate cup of milk.
All day.
Well, it's a glass of milk as an adult.
Glass cup, same thing.
I will
And
say
you
with
don't
certain
have milk
cereals,
in your cereal. That's just,
Rob, that
with
might
certain cereals, you can have a glass of milk on the side. I will say I have done that before. Not a lot. Not
but
with.
then eating the milk eating
the milk.
eating the cereal itself without the milk.
Yeah, man.
That's such a questionable life decision right there.
that is weird to me too. That's just one of the weirdest things I heard of the decade, let alone the day. I
It's
think.
just a decade. Jesus, man. You're not talking
Well, to be
about
fair,
it?
the decade is only 5 months
Yeah,
old right
exactly. Yeah.
I think I told you this, Shane, on Twitter. It's something I have to try too because it might sound strange, but it's something I want to try because, like you, I'm a slow eater, so it does get all like soggy and mushy and stuff at the end. So then the cereal just gets bad, and then I don't even want to finish the bowl of cereal. So then I end up sometimes even wasting the cereal and the milk just because it ends up being bad.
See?
I leave the cereal in the milk and don't touch it for a couple minutes to let it get soggy.
Like, you just like need soft foods. You have to remove your dentures.
No, it's better like that.
It's better like that. Jesus.
Wait, I have a question though. Why does it take you two so long to eat cereal? Like cereal's usually a quick eating food. Like I was just curious. Like what do you
It
do
takes me
in the
long to eat
morning
everything.
that takes you forever to eat cereal?
Yeah, I'm just a slow eater in general. Like it's just I start eating and then it's like you start paying attention to something else and then this bowl of cereal has been sitting there for like 10, 15 minutes and it just
Milk's warm, food's
Yeah.
soggy.
I think you
It's
guys
not
need
pleasurable.
bigger spoons.
What the? I don't think that's the problem. It's the mastication process.
You get more cereal on the spoon to eat
Take
it
2 scoops. What's the difference?
because the time that it takes to get it up to your mouth, like you could have more, and then it's cereal. It's liquid, so you already have it like in your mouth. You're not going
It
to
is
open
not
up your
liquid.
mouth. What the milk in the cereal? You already took a bite of it. So why would you go back for another bite and then open your mouth with it already in there? Like, if you already have it in there with a bigger spoon, like a bigger biteful
You know
of
how
cereal
you
and milk,
avoid that? Don't put
not
milk.
having the milk in yet.
So wait, have you done like a scientific experiment to test how long it takes approximately to get the cereal from the bowl up to your mouth?
I will do a full experiment on this. I will sit here and I will add milk and wait for several minutes like the sociopath that Sean is. So it gets to the appropriate level of mush.
Yep.
And then I will sit there and I will also try to pour the exact amount of milk that is the appropriate amount of milk so that both run out at the same spoonful. Also, sociopathic, you psycho. What's wrong with you? I don't know who can measure that and just know. Even a professional cereal eater such as Boric over there doesn't know how much is the appropriate level. It's bizarre to me. But I will run a full experiment on this, and I'll report back to you guys. We could also have an eat-off between me and Sean to see who eats slower.
I don't eat slow.
You mean Andrew?
Or Andrew, sorry. Every time. Every
You can
single time. I'm
exaggerate
convinced you guys are the
slowness,
same.
So bringing up big spoons reminded me of that old freaking Astiff cartoon on YouTube where the guy's like, "My spoon's too big." Just reminded me.
You are the only person who's heard of that.
Yeah, I don't know.
You look it up; it's funny.
We'll send it to us so we can watch it.
Okay, I will.
Thank you. I don't want to not get the joke. I want to laugh at it later awkwardly.
But especially like when I eat with people, like I'm even slower because then like you just start talking to everyone and then like when we go out to restaurants and stuff and then the main meal gets cold and everything and
Well,
and
who
then,
eats cereal at restaurants?
no, I'm not saying cereal. I'm saying slow eating in general because we were talking about we kind of transitioned into slow eaters. Shane mentioned the eat off.
This is why I love these Sunday shows, by the way.
That's true. I mean, we all find out weird shit about people with food. People like Rob who don't cut sandwiches.
But moving on to the next one. What's the better time period? Like the time period with standard time or daylight saving times? And let's start with you, Shane, since you went last one.
I don't care. Just pick one and stick with it. Like, I genuinely don't give a shit. I would like for it to be lighter, darker into the day. That's lovely. That's more time for me to go out there and play baseball or golf. But
Did you just say lighter, darker into the day?
later into the day. How did I say that? I don't know.
I have
I've
no
been drinking
clue. I
NyQuil
think
for 3.5 hours, so I am exhausted right now.
I think your brain is pretty fried over there.
It's
Same.
true. But like I could see positives for both sides. If it is brighter, the later the day goes on, I'm cool with that because I can do more shit at night. Also, if it is brighter earlier, I can fish earlier, and that's fucking great. So just pick one, and I'll just adapt and never complain ever.
Okay, Sean.
I've never even thought about this.
No one has. That's why he asks.
Asking the hard-hitting questions over there.
I would rather we fall back every year, but just never went back forward.
Okay.
The silence.
What is that? So you're talking about like lighter, like stay lighter?
It's just like I don't like losing sleep. I don't know.
That's one day. It's not the whole time. What the hell's wrong with you? Wait,
That
I'm
one
sorry.
day's
Do you
the
not
whole
know that?
row of.
No, I know. I know it's
I just making sure, man. It certainly sounds like it didn't.
I don't ever want to lose sleep.
But it's one time.
Like
if
ever.
it happened once. It would be that
I'm
way
21
for the
years old. It's happened. I've lost 21 hours of sleep.
Oh my god, man! not really, because you made it up. The next season will change.
No, because all right.
Fair point.
Yeah, but you still wake up at the same time, like.
But it still changed at 2 a.m. back to 1.
Yeah. Like they say in the
what is happening? All right, we need IQ tests for everybody immediately to remain on CTP Pod. The hell is going on? This guy's over here thinking that he loses and every day is 23 hours for half the year.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying at all. I know exactly how it works. I'm just saying I hate that one day a year where you lose sleep.
But you would never have to again. That's you select one and deal with it for the rest
I'm going to have to do it the same day the next year. That's what I'm trying to say.
I think this is just, Sean, this is just you using all that brain power in your serial algorithms, and you're not applying it to your sleep algorithms.
You're 100% right.
Wait, do you have like a specific measuring cup so that you know how much milk to put in?
No,
and another measuring cup?
I just try and eye it. I don't let the milk go.
True chef, I respect your style.
The second you see the milk like start to come up from the bottom of the bowl, that's when you stop. Like,
Okay, real quick, going back to that, do we all like if you use milk, do you pour the cereal first before the milk?
Yeah, come on.
Absolutely.
Complicated.
Not all psychopaths.
Who wants to splash out of there?
Yeah. But it's a good answer from Rob.
Yeah, I like it being lighter later into the day. One of my favorite things about baseball season is going to a game, in the middle of July or something like that, and it gets like the 7th or 8th inning, and it's still relatively light outside. And so yeah, I think that sunny days and being bright outside has a correlation to mental health. You're happier when it's lighter out. So yeah, I like it being lighter later into the day. And if we're going to do this whole daylight savings thing, then I think they do need to change it up a little bit. I think that when we gain the hour, it should be right where it is. Midnight, we gain an hour of sleep. When we lose the hour, it should happen on a weekday at noon, so we get out of work an hour early, or we have an hour less of work.
I dig that.
That would be fantastic. Bork?
Well, I think we might need to give Rob some props first and foremost as a great analytical mind. Also, instead of also just Sean, but I think I would rather have more hours of the day. But I'm kind of more in the boat of Shane. I can just adjust and adapt to picking one. I just kind of think it's pointless keep switching it to two different things each year where you could just have one baseline thing, and I would basically be fine with it because no matter what, I would adapt to whatever that one thing was. It just seems stupid doing the back and forth when we're upgrading to new things now. It seems like someone would have thought that was stupid years ago now, but I guess that's never happened.
You know why they do it, right?
Yeah, but I don't care. I just want
it kind of has to.
You're not a farmer.
It doesn't affect you. I mean, it only affects you.
Okay, here, how about this? Keep it the best way for farmers and then leave it that way.
But you can't do it at different times. Like I'm from South Jersey, and I go to like a Central Jersey school, quote unquote Central Jersey.
Aren't you
there's a lot
not say that shit?
What?
I don't know.
Central Jersey?
Yeah.
Why? Because it doesn't exist?
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, I've gotten so adjusted to if I say it doesn't exist because I go to a school literally in the middle, the amount of people that claim it. Anyway, I go there. There's a lot of people from like North Jersey that I talk to on a daily basis that own farms. Like they live on farms. They live by daylight savings time gives them an extra hour to, plow their crops. I don't know. But it's important to them. So it doesn't directly affect me, but I get the importance of it.
Yeah. Okay, well then in that case we should always have daylight saving times and keep it like that.
Yeah. It's not that it's just pointless. Like I mean, I get what you mean with like.
No, I
everything
bet doing
today.
both ways was pointless. We should just pick one, not the overall thing.
Exactly. Go back. You don't need to go forward. That's what I'm trying to say. Like this is what.
Yeah,
See,
I-
Borg
You just
gets it.
roundabout
Borg-
brings it all
Borg
the way back.
Gets it. But he disagreed with me.
In a roundabout way, I guess so. Yeah, because
The most roundabout way, yes.
we should just keep daylight. We should just keep daylight.
The only downfall is that eventually it's going to be dark during the day and light during the night. I mean, eventually that's going to happen. But at that point, you could just completely reset the AM and
swap
PM.
the day. Yeah.
Every 12 years, you just completely reset
AM to PM.
AM and PM.
Yeah, that's much better. Much better.
You get
Hey,
the
that
midnight.
would be funnier because then you could just have everyone confused. Like,
The Phillies play a game at 7. It ends at around 10:30, and when you get to midnight, it's noon, and they have a game in a couple hours.
I don't hate that on that one day, but it is moronic.
well, I don't love the fact that I would have to stay up for potentially 14 hours.
Tired.
Long those games go.
Coming up with brilliant ideas
It's
here
just-
on the Chase Independent podcast.
Screw daylight saving time. Just adjust it once every 12 years.
All right, we're changing the ways of the world. Moving on to the next question. What's the better vacation spot out of these three? Amusement parks, beaches, or mountains? And let's start with Rob.
I'm going beaches. I've always been more of a beach person. I love going down to the shore every summer. And I've had, the mountains are great. My family used to have a vacation home up in the Poconos. That was a lot of fun, but part of the fun was the fact that it was along a lake. So we had a dock, we had a boat and jet skis and all that kind of stuff. And that's the stuff that I like having at the beach. In addition to be able to hang out on the beach and the beach bar and all that, you can always find a place like a marina or something like that where you can rent a jet ski. So, yeah, I'm going beach.
All right, nice. Bort?
Yeah, I would say beaches as well, and that's one I can't even judge on the mountains because I've barely ever really been up the mountains. So I would say beaches. The only time I was up there was in the summer, and that's not a good judge of the mountains. We went to the water park. So the beaches are for me because I love Sea Isle. I love, like Rob said, you had the beachside bars. You just have some great places to go and hang out at the beaches. It's just a nice chill thing. The ocean's awesome. I suck at doing any surfing and like all that crap, but I'm really good at boogie boarding. So the ocean. So I entertain myself on the beach, just chill, listen to music, have a few beers, stuff like that. So I would say the beach. The beach is pretty awesome to me.
Also got to throw in an obvious one: scantily clad women.
Because that doesn't exist everywhere, Rob.
Yeah, but you get it more up close and personal at the beach, though.
Rob gets arrested quickest at the beach.
Probably not wrong there.
Shane, what's your answer?
The ocean is just filthy and just eats my ass. Sand is a miserable experience. I dislike having, like, you ever get sand stuck in your urethra? That's the worst fucking thing I've ever had in my entire existence. That is so much pain. No one needs that. No one. So no, I don't ever need to be that. I will tell you the one time I will ever go down to the shore, and I do it every single year, is when it is freaking winter and everything is closed because it's quiet and I can finally sleep. It's lovely. But outside of that, mountains, because man, I will literally shit myself if I have to get on a roller coaster. Like, that is an experience. Like, if we ever did like a group, like a CTP bonding experience, and you guys just wanted to laugh, put me on a roller coaster and just watch. Like, I will. It's not fun. I will basically cry.
I'm all
Can't
in.
Is it like
let's
is it
go
the
to
height or is it like the speed of it?
What's that?
Is it like the height of it or speed? Like,
I hate heights, and I have like a fear of falling, and that's the two things that you're doing. It's horrifying. My idiot brother also is terrified of roller coasters, and we were at Kennywood in Pittsburgh, and the girl that he was dating at the time, or engaged to at the time, whatever, she kept calling him out on it. You don't like roller coasters. You don't like roller coasters. And he said, well, shit, if I got to get on, so does Shane. I said, you need to break up with this girl. And you know what he didn't do? break up with that girl, at least not at that time. So we both had to go on it, and I've never forgiven him. Every single year I punch him in his stomach for it. So no,
Jesus,
I'm
man.
not an amusement park guy. It's terrible.
That's one hell of a grudge to hold.
It's
That's what you're supposed to do, right, brothers?
I guess so. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Still.
Kristen Stewart, if she worked there, if it was like that shitty movie that I can't remember what it's called, but back in like 2013, I want to say, somewhere in that range, I'd go to
Twilight, right?
Not Twilight, asshat. No, it's a legitimate, like, I don't know, like 60s movie or something. Like they work at an amusement park or some shit. I don't know, but she's in it. I'm pretty sure it was her anyway. It's gonna be terrible if it wasn't her. But I have a thing for Kristen Stewart because she just looks dead in the eyes, and I dig that. So that's probably the only person basically that can get me to an amusement park voluntarily. It's long story short.
And then Sean.
Yeah. Well, Shane had me at everything up until he said he hates roller coasters because
Thank you.
I hate the beach. My girlfriend loves the beach. It's her favorite place. It's the only place she
Same
ever
with
wants to
mine.
go.
Sucks.
I I tell her all the time that we can like I make like circumstances where like we can go like, but
You pick the bikini. I feel
sure sure. No, I like looking at the mountains. I don't like hiking, but I like having that backdrop. It's one thing I don't get from living in New Jersey. But
Fair.
I'm roller coasters. I love Six Flags. Me and a couple of friends make a trip like once a year where we drive somewhere. Last year was Kennywood, which is pretty funny.
That's cool.
But the year
That is a
before
cool
it
place.
was the year before was Kings Island, which is awesome. I think it's in Virginia. And we're probably gonna go somewhere in Canada this summer if we're able to. But yeah, I love roller coasters. I love the adrenaline. I hate the beach. I like to look at mountains, but I can take them or leave them.
Ridiculous. It was Adventureland, by the way, and I got kicked out of Kennywood with my brother.
All right, well,
You
now
got
we have
kicked
to hear
out?
the story.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as good of a story as you would think, but we were what's the thing with the horses? It goes around in a circle. I can't remember what the fuck it's called.
Merry-go-round.
Carousel.
Carousel. Thank you. So we played tag where we couldn't, like, we had to go from horse to horse to try to get to each other. We weren't endangering anyone. We were the only two people on this thing, which is normal, I think, because I don't think anyone goes on to that. But he knocked me off, and then I fell onto the platform, and then off the platform onto the ground, and that was enough to scare the worker. Which is, I mean, my brother's 6'5", 6'6", and I'm definitely not. So, like, he should have won that one. But we did the same shit with bumper cars, except we were jumping onto other cars that were immobile, if it made more sense. So, like, if he hit me and it knocked me off path and I could get out and run to one that wasn't being used and start it, I did that. So we did that, and then at that point, we got kicked out. So, not a great story, but it was fun nonetheless.
I guess as long as you had fun out of it.
Yes.
It's all in the fun.
Exactly. All right, so on to the next question. Do you shower in the morning or night? Let's go with Bork.
I don't actually have necessarily a constant thing for that. I do night a decent amount,
shower.
and then I do morning. Like, I don't have a constant thing for that. Like, when I play sports a lot at night when we're allowed to, like, play and I play pickup with everybody, then I obviously always do at night. I tend to do mornings when I'm not really doing anything because I just get up in the morning, get a shower, and then go about my day. But it really actually varies for me just depending on the day, because if I exercise or whatever, I always get showers then. So that always varies for me. I don't have a steady plan. I have more of a stagnant plan with that.
Okay. Sean?
Isn't steady and stagnant kind of the same fucking thing?
Yeah, I think I screwed that up.
Stagnant is not moving.
It's like just still, so like that's constant.
Yeah,
Whatever.
actually, yeah, I don't have a steady
Keep
plan.
going.
I have a varying plan.
I think stagnant is not moving. Steady is not changing.
Much better explanation.
Anyway, I don't. I'm just like Bork, kind of. I don't have a set thing. It's 90% of the time it is in the morning, because it's usually right before I would go to work or I would go to class or something. Because I have long hair. I kind of need, like, if I'm not allowed to wear a hat, which I'm not allowed to at where I used to work, I would have to shower beforehand every single time because it wasn't going to look good from sleeping on it. So, other than that, it's usually not at night unless, like, I've done nothing during the day, or, like, I was able to wear a hat all day, and then, like, if I'm going out to, like, a bar or something, or like a club or something at school, and, like, I can't wear a hat, stuff like that, like, I would shower before that. But
Okay. Shane?
Y'all are filthy. I shower both, sometimes 3 times a day, but I know I have issues. Everything just freaks me the fuck out. I'm not like Howie Mandel-esque, where I got to walk around with Purell, like, in my back pocket, like if someone sneezes in, like, 3 states over, and I'm like, bam, got it. Just got to sanitize. I'm not quite that bad, but, like, man, I do. And plus, you got to be prepared, right? Like what happens if, I mean, I'm in a relationship, so spontaneity and sex aren't exactly a thing anymore. But when it was, like, you want to be pristine, you want to be your best self. You don't want to be doing, like, a gentleman's wash in, like, a sink and throwing your it's not fun. So just shower both, and you're always good. I don't understand how you guys shower once a day. It's weird as hell. And I got long hair too, Sean, so I'm in that same damn boat. Nothing. The shit looks straight up Jewish. It's weird as hell. It just gets bigger, not down. It's weird.
Rob?
I always shower in the morning, and depending how grimy I get at work, I probably about 50% of the time shower at night too. But yeah, in the morning is my preference, and that's one that's always constant. And yeah, sometimes both, always the one.
Okay. Going to the next one. So this is kind of like a 2-part kind of mixed question. When, in terms of Christmas music, when do you start and when do you listen? And is there like a time period that's too early or too late to leave it on? Or do you never listen to it at all? We'll go back to Rob.
I do listen to Christmas music, but I don't start until after Thanksgiving, and I stop pretty much in the few days after Christmas. So I'm not really a huge Christmas music kind of person, but there is a time and place for it, and I hate hearing it before Thanksgiving because I kind of feel like it's disrespectful of Thanksgiving, which is a great holiday in its own right.
Thanksgiving's wonderful.
So it is wonderful. You get 3 football games, you get amazing food, you get to spend time with your family. So yeah, respect Thanksgiving. Don't start the Christmas music until after it, and then after Christmas, I feel like Christmas music is kind of redundant at that point.
Okay. Bort?
Yeah, I also start listening to it after Thanksgiving because obviously, as someone whose birthday is on Christmas, I heard my fair share of Christmas music growing up. So I'm an after Thanksgiving type person for that, and I agree with
Christmas
Rob.
Bonus and a birthday bonus. That's cool.
I agree with Rob that it's a thing that I think they should just play it after Thanksgiving because Thanksgiving is awesome, and I'm not going to go through it because Rob went through all of it in detail. So I think they should start playing it. But I do go to usually parties around Christmas time, and it's awesome to jam to some of the Christmas music and stuff, especially the Christmas Eve party. But after Christmas, I normally don't listen to it much after Christmas. I'm like the day of Christmas, I listen to it maybe the day after, but I don't listen much after Christmas.
All right, Shane?
I don't. The second Christmas music comes on, I switch over to audiobooks. I can't do it. It's the same shit every year. Can't do it.
But is it any different than like any other music playing over and over again though?
Yes, it is. It's ridiculous. There's like 7 songs that get played on repeat constantly versus the, I don't know, like 19,000 songs that are on my phone plus Spotify plus what's the other one called? Pandora plus XM radio. Like there are options with other music. I don't need to hear the same 7 songs for Christmas. I'm not big on Christmas to begin with. Like it's just not my thing.
Okay.
Thanksgiving's where it's at, Sean.
You know how I feel about Thanksgiving.
That's why I called you out on it.
Yeah. And for me, in this question, I won't voluntarily put on Christmas music until maybe a week before Christmas. Like I'm not huge on holidays like at all to begin with. But yeah, Christmas music, like I don't mind it. I enjoy it, but I won't voluntarily put it on. And the second Christmas is over and I hear a Christmas song, I will go out of my way to turn it off. So
I think personally, up until New Year's, I think is a fair point. Like after Christmas and stuff, I think up until like the New Year's point, it's still kind of the Christmas season. So I think I'd still continue to listen to it up until that point. But I agree with the Thanksgiving. I think that's a good starting point. And
Adventureland, Shane. Adventureland.
Thank you. Yes. Such a babe. Damn, I love Kristen Stewart. You know why I love Kristen Stewart? Because if I walked into a bar and there were 35 normal women and Kristen Stewart, she's the one I'd have the best chance with. She's attainable. It's great.
all right. What was it, Jeff?
I said I'll take Shane's word for it.
Thanks, man. I don't really know if you're just like confident in me or if you also have the same view of Kristen Stewart, but either way, thanks. That's also the douchiest thing I've ever said on this show. I'm not exactly proud of that statement. This is a lot of NyQuil talking right now.
All right, and final question from me is, what do you prefer, a soft or a firm bed mattress? And we'll go to Rob to start.
Oh man, I'd have to go soft. I don't know. It's easier for me to sleep on. That's one of the things I love about hotels is they always have a soft bed mattress, and my mattress at home is soft, so like it's what I'm used to. If I try to sleep on a hard mattress, it just doesn't work out. So it's gonna be soft.
Hotels always have just the best beds. Like there's no better bed to sleep on than a hotel bed.
Oh, absolutely.
Shane?
Whew. Thanks for going to me second. I had a lot to say on this one. It's 100% firm because you could sleep anywhere. You could fuck anywhere too, but you sink sometimes and it ruins the balance. Like you build a routine. You understand where things lie for you and your lady. You understand where you need to hit. And if you sink 3 inches lower because your mattress is too soft, it fucks everything up. That's not fun. No. The bed is prioritized specifically for nocturnal activity, not sleeping. It's wonderful. So you got to go firm, 100%.
Okay, Sean?
Soft mattress, hard pillow, heavy blanket.
Okay.
Oh my God, I hate you
That's
guys.
all I have to say. I look at a bed as a place to sleep, so.
I do not. Well, I don't look at anything as a place to sleep, honestly.
And yet that's why you have the NyQuil.
Well, it's more so the sex addiction, but that's fine. Everything's an option.
Borg?
Mine, I don't remember what the hell it's called, but I remember when we bought it, I have a mattress that's actually more in the middle of firm and soft because that works the best for me.
Memory foam?
Probably that one of those two. I'm not going to go look at it right now because I would have to get up from the computer and move the freaking mattress to see. So, but yeah, it's one of those. So that's really nice for me because if I get one that's too soft, I have a bad back from playing sports, especially baseball, when I threw it out on one swing years ago. So
how the hell
have to have one in the middle. Don't worry about it. We'll get to that story at some other point. Anyway,
he's injury prone. That's what it is.
Anyway, I prefer one that's in the middle.
Okay. You sound like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Your mattress that's just right.
Exactly. Yeah, they get.
That's your Christmas bonus, by the way. That's what I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna send you that book.
I'll send you that book back with a very probably strongly worded note.
Why?
I don't want that book. That book's for kids. I don't have kids.
You might one day.
Yeah, well,
It's his Christmas/birthday present.
That's exactly correct. It's from
Which,
all of us
by
here
the
at
way,
CTP.
is terrible. I have a summer birthday, and my mom planned that accordingly so that I would have 2 chances to get gifts during the year. And being handed one gift and saying this is for Christmas and birthday I'm very sorry for you. I mean, it's a cool time to have a birthday.
You materialistic asshole.
I had no say in the matter. Let me put that up.
I said, hold on, I need to
Straight
get
out
gifts
of-
twice a year.
Straight out of my mom told me this.
Wow. That's Jesus. All right then.
Well, think about it. If it gets to January, and when you're 10 years old and it's January, and you say, "Mom, I want this game," they're like, "Oh, okay." Like, you can't say wait for your birthday. I mean, if you can say, like, if it's January, my birthday's in July. She could say, "Oh, wait till your birthday." I'm like, "Okay, I have 6 months to wait." If it's January, my birthday's on Christmas, and you're like, "Mom, I want this game." She's like, "Oh, well." You're gonna forget about it by the time.
That.
What?
Make them do anything around the house.
Well, no,
and
I'm just
learn
saying,
values of the home system to earn their own money, and then buy them a damn game with it.
Well, I'm giving an example. What if they want a bike, or what if they want,
That's just vacuum a lot. If you're a kid like me, make a lot of crumbs and say, "Mom, I'm going to vacuum real quick," and she thought I was the cleanest kid. I just had an ulterior motive at 9. I knew what I was doing.
Vacuuming is the first chore that your head goes to as a kid.
I don't remember what the exact first chore was, but I know it was one that was easy to do.
Taking out the trash.
Taking out the trash, cutting the grass.
They trusted you with a blade and walking out into the middle of the street.
Oh, no, it was just the backyard.
Oh, okay. It's different growing up in the projects. No, I'm just kidding around. I grew up in such a shitty, normal neighborhood. It wasn't even funny. Oh.
Well, that's all the questions I got for today. So, Shane, if you want to take it back with the AMA.
All right. So that was good, Andrew. Thank you, as always, for the polls. I think that should be a mainstay at this point, even if it's just a handful of them each Sunday show. They are fun. They bring out some good debates and good arguments. We are at a little over an hour and 10 minutes, so we're only going to do a couple of each of these, and we'll save the rest of them for next Sunday's show because none of them are time sensitive at this point. So we're going to go with I'm going to start with a baseball question because we moved away from baseball a little bit. For new listeners, every Sunday we do some AMAs. So these are questions that come in from listeners or coming from just some of our friends and family or from us that like we kind of throw out throughout the week in our group chat with the CTP guys. So we're going to jump into a baseball one first. Let's see. All right, so I always like this question. It's not necessarily specific to baseball or to the Phillies, but we're going to phrase it that way. You are granted the opportunity to have a career in the Philadelphia Phillies organization. What role would you most see yourself in at a successful clip? Would it be a player? Would it be a manager or coach? Would it be a GM, scout, or a broadcaster or something else? Any of you guys can answer. It does not matter.
I would say for me, I'd pick broadcaster just because just lately I've had the experience down here at this Division II school, Northwestern Oklahoma State. I got some broadcasting experience doing color commentary for the basketball team, and I was supposed to help out once we got into like big traveling parts of baseball as well. But obviously that didn't work out. And then, so I'd say that sense, and then doing a bunch of these podcasts is always fun. So I think just the way I kind of picked up different things of the game in that sense, I think broadcasting would be my best fit in terms of an organization and also the most fun for me.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with that. I'm going broadcasting as well, just because I've had multiple years of experience in it with the radio station I work for down in Levittown. I've done baseball, done basketball, done football, done pretty much every sport. But for me, baseball's always been not only the easiest one, but probably my favorite one to do, just because it's kind of slow paced. You don't need to be looking at your paper and all that every split second to see who all the players are. And quite frankly, I've gotten pretty good at it. So yeah, baseball broadcaster in the Phillies organization. That's what I would do.
Anybody not go on the broadcasting route?
Yeah, I don't know if this is a position in baseball, but I know it is for football. They have a position. I mean, I'm sure it is for baseball, but they have a position where they are I would say the title's like a scout, but it's not a scout of like high school kids or college kids where you have to travel and go watch or whatever. It's a scout of fringe players that have like the chance of being cut or dropped or anybody right on the edge of like
the entire
getting released
Dodgers
by
organization.
The team. Right. Like somebody like that, like that's on the fringe, and you look at what your team needs and you like pinpoint certain guys so that when that you get the opportunity to, if they are released or whatever, you would be the one to kind of say like, yo, we should get this guy, he's pretty good. I think that's for me. I don't like, scouting to me has always seemed like too big of a task, and I know there's so many scouts you get assigned like specific players or specific teams, whatever the case may be. So it's a lot less, it's a lot smaller task than it actually sounds. But I feel like I would be better at people that are already established, just not in the right ways.
You would probably have the most significant impact of any of us at this point if that was the direction you were going, because that's what baseball is now. It's finding the one thing that didn't work for a player and turning that into a strength in another organization that may allow for that to be a better fit. You look
Something
at the
Phillies are never able to do.
We have always missed at the margins, and we always will, until, of course, they hire you in this specific role. I almost said Pacific. Fuck, that's a lot of NyQuil. But no, that's definitely interesting, and that is something that I would find to be a ton of fun. Bork, you didn't give an answer, man. Go for it.
Mine, because it's the field I kind of went to business comm to study for, would also be in media, broadcasting in any capacity, and reporting on the end of media as well, because that's just what I really have wanted to get into. So mine would be in that. As a secondary thing, though, mine would be as a scout, because I just think that's so. I've been a guy that's been into stats and looking at people's stats. Just in college, you don't have as much free time, unfortunately, to get as much into that, where now I'm going to become probably a nerd with all that all over again, since I have more free time.
You can create all of our graphics.
Nerd.
So
nice.
I think it could be really cool being a scout as well. Plus, you get great connections that way, and it's just cool to get to watch the most games as possible as well. So,
fair. All right, next one is baseball related again, partially. You have to swap. Wow. You have to swap. There we go. The entirety of someone's hair from the neck up with the other player. So, would you take Bryce Harper's caveman-esque look right now, which is beautiful, by the way, long hair, full thick beard, and swap that with clean-cut JT? JT would look like the caveman. Bryce would be clean-cut with a buzz. Would either of you do that, or would you rather sit there and see possibly and arguably the greatest hair in baseball in Scotty Jetpacks with Adam Morgan? So Adam Morgan would then have great hair, and Scotty would have an awkward-looking beard that doesn't really fit his face. Which one would you guys rather see?
I would make the first swip that you mentioned there.
I put the NyQuil down. I'm done. Good.
Yeah, I did that first one. I don't want Scotty to change.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna ask actual baseball questions now for the next couple before we get into a couple just fun, quick ones on the non-baseball related side. So this one is something that this is an argument I've had with people forever, and I'm always interested to hear people's takes because I don't believe that there's one specific right answer. But Bryce Harper has been on record now saying that he does not want to trade prospects to acquire a Chris Bryant. It appears that in a case-by-case basis, he has some sway or pull in the roster construction and the direction that things are going. How much would you guys be willing to put into Bryce Harper in terms of what he is allowing or not allowing happening? Like, would his voice matter to you if you were part of the front office, or would any star player's voice matter to you? Or are you saying, I need you to be productive on the field and let us do our jobs?
Honestly, you're paying the guy $300 million. He is one of the biggest, if not the biggest name in all of baseball. So I think you kind of need to accept the fact that he might more or less become sort of a LeBron James type, and that he's going to kind of have a little bit of power in dictating.
Never say that again. I loathe LeBron James.
I love LeBron James. Great comparison, Rob.
What about
I know
Thank
you
you.
do, man. Shut the
Thank
hell
you.
up.
Okay, but back to my point. You've got to concede the fact that he's a powerful enough person within the team and within the sport that you've got to kind of contour the roster to what he wants a little bit, at least in terms of, having those hitters around him in the lineup. Maybe not the pitching staff, but the guys around him in the lineup who he feels that could make him better and make the team better. So I think he's enough of a personality and he's important enough of a figure within the Phillies that he is going to have some power there.
Yeah, I agree. You gotta let him have some say. I mean, you don't want to get your superstar player angry or anything, and then have him force his own way out, and then it just turns into a bigger mess. Because then you acted on giving him the money, but you don't keep him happy, and then he wants out. Now you're back down to square one, and you're looking at another rebuilding project. Because most likely all you're going to get for him is a bunch of prospects. So I think you really got to whoever the superstar is, whether it's Harper or whatever other baseball player. I mean, you got to let him kind of have a say on who he wants to be with the team and make sure he's happy and wants to stay in the city.
Yeah, you definitely need to keep him happy, and I think you should weigh a lot what he says because he's right on everything so far. You should do, by all means, what you have to do to re-sign JT. You shouldn't get rid of a lot of your prospects for everybody, especially when you have one of the best budding third basemen in Bohm. So you shouldn't do any of those things because we saw what that did to our organization. It took us so long to even get the few prospects we have now after we traded all of our guys to not even win another World Series again after 08. So that I don't want any of that to happen again, just to potentially not have one happen because we make all the wrong moves since we have Matt Glentak as our manager. So
GM.
As our GM, sorry. So I would much rather have us keep the young guys, let them develop, and not make any mistakes with trades in them because I don't have the utmost trust in Matt Glentak.
I don't know how you got to that point in answering the opposite end of that question, but it's a valid point. What do you? It wasn't so much what's your stance on trading prospects, but what's your stance on having your megastar, your face of your franchise, being involved in the process of the decision as to what to do with those prospects?
Oh, yeah, but I was just making the point that he's right. I would want him to be involved because he's 100% right on all of it. Yeah. So
I'm curious at what point do you allow that? To me, if we'll take Bryce Harper as the specific example here, he signs 13 years, $330 million. He's going to be here, and it's he's a Philly for the rest of his life, so long as the organization doesn't screw it up, not Harper. In his particular case, we had already we had gone out, we got JT, we had McCutchen, we had made a lot of decisions to help get him here and then to help that first year. But beyond that, we haven't really done that yet. Obviously, we get the Zach Wheeler thing, and that's fine. But ultimately, that's where it ended. And then stupid money ended with it, too. I think Rob's the one who says that, each show at some point. Is it year two that you sit there and you say, all right, listen, Harp, we're good to go here. We want you to be a signer on some of these trades or some of these moves. This is something we like. Is it year three where that happens? At what point do you risk and toe that line of giving somebody too much power? And then ultimately, the guys in that locker room may start alienating themselves from a guy like Bryce because they know, shit, if I'm not performing, or they see something else as a viable option, that's going to create turmoil. I think it's such a fine line to sit there and say, listen, we're going to tell the rest of our clubhouse Bryce Harper has a say in whether or not you're here or not. Now ultimately, I don't think Bryce is like LeBron is. I think LeBron's an ass. But I do think, Bryce Harper at this point, and the Bryce Harper that we have known in Philadelphia for a little over a year now, certainly seems to be a better teammate, in my opinion, than what we view LeBron, who does in fact alienate people. But it's weird. It's hard to sit there and find that line as to when is the appropriate time to let a guy like Bryce Harper or any other superstar and face of your franchise to be involved in all those decisions.
Yeah, it certainly, I mean, it wouldn't come without risk, but I think eventually it's going to become part of the territory with how much money you're paying him and how much influence he has over the team. I think eventually it's going to become a thing whether they try to avoid it or not.
That's fair. All right.
I mean, you give a guy a 13-year deal, like he has to have, like, you want him there. You want him being the heart and soul of a team for that time period. Like, he's gonna have a say, and I think everybody has to know that.
And I think people do, but I do think that like I said, I don't trust the Phillies organization for a damn thing. So in this particular case, I guess with Bryce, I would honestly trust him to run a better franchise than what I would trust, Klentak and McPhail. And that's pretty damning. But I don't think that's the ordinary approach that would be had. Like I said, we're nearing an hour and a half at this point, so we're going to go with 2 more baseball questions, and then we're just going to do a couple of the non-baseball related AMAs that came in. So this one I actually chose, and I did change one of the names that was in it. I had changed it because each of you have mentioned one of the players I'm going to name as one of your favorite of the 5-year run there. So imagine that it is that each of the 3 players that I'm going to name are in the prime of their career, and they all have 1 year left on their contract. You can extend one during the season. You can allow another to play out and risk losing them in free agency. And then there's another one that you just flat out commit to saying will not be back. Chase, Cole Hamels, or Ryan Howard. Who are you extending? Who are you evaluating at season's end? And who are you outright saying will not be back next year? And giving the Phil Jackson treatment.
All right, what specific year are you talking about?
Each of their individual primes. So, like, just hypothetically speaking, it all lined up that they were all at the height of their prime.
Oh, man, it's tough.
It's supposed to be. It's why I changed the names.
For me, I know 100% I'm extending Chase. I just love Chase Utley too much. So I have to go with that one if they're in the meat of the prime of their careers. And then I'm going to let Hamels play out just because of how important pitching is. And then Howard would be the one because I think I could find a decent hitting first baseman somewhere else that I would just let go.
Because we had so much success in that.
Wait, did you say decent hitting first baseman? Howard's a lot better.
No. Howard's not a decent hitting first baseman. I'm saying I can find a decent hitting first baseman to fit in better than I can find a pitcher that's at Hamels' potential in his peak.
Howard had one of the best 6-year primes in history.
Yeah.
I mean, his MVP season, he hit .313 with 58 homers and 149 RBIs, and I don't think anybody's had a season quite like that since then.
And you're gonna let him walk and so you can replace him?
By the way,
can we go down the line of first baseman that the Phillies have had since Ryan Howard?
Because we're not good at evaluating talent. We're a terrible organization. I'm talking about, you're saying if we pick them, which would mean then we are picking who the hell replaces them.
Wait, you're saying that Tommy Joseph wasn't a stud first baseman?
Goddamn. Replace Ryan Howard. I would go out and get somebody that's worth a damn to replace Ryan Howard if I let him walk that was worth less money, because getting pitching, we see that throughout baseball, is a lot harder to get than offense. You look at the damn Twins, look at the freaking other teams that have been good before they've got to their full peak. It's usually pitching is the last thing they get to reach the next level. So That's all I'm thinking of along those lines, and it's also just because of how much I love Chase Utley. Otherwise, I could have put Ryan Howard on extend as the position player, but I'm too obsessed with Chase Utley to do that. So Ryan Howard just kind of beat at that point.
Okay.
It's fair.
All right.
So-
Well,
Go ahead.
as I say, I'm extending Utley just because at his absolute prime before the injuries hit, he was the best second baseman in all of baseball. Hands down. He had, I think 2007, he hit like 332 or something like that with like 30 homers. And he had a couple seasons where he was up, the batting average was around or north of 300. He was up in the 30 homer range. He was driving in a ton of runs. Offensively, he was the best second baseman in all of baseball. Defensively, well above average. Excellent baseball player all around. It's a shame that injuries got in the way because otherwise he would have had a Hall of Fame career. So I'm extending him. At the end of the season, I'm reevaluating Ryan Howard. And it's not that I didn't like Cole Hamels. It's just that I feel like of the three, he was the least spectacular, if that's a fair term, in terms of like the prime of his career. Because Chase Utley and Ryan Howard had spectacular primes of their careers, whereas Cole was a very good pitcher, but there were a lot of other very good pitchers just like him, if that makes any sense.
Of course it does. The Phillies believed so much in him, and they went out and acquired every other ace they could.
The psychopath that doesn't cut his sandwiches and enjoys maroon jerseys hit every nail on the head right there. That's exactly everything word for word. I'm doubling up on that.
Hold up, I thought we established that you were the psychopath in this episode.
Of this episode, Sean is.
Shane
I can't recall
eats,
why.
Shane eats his cereal with a glass of milk instead of putting it in. Can we shift back to this?
You know what? We are now the 7 psychopaths. We're stealing that title.
All right, let's just accept the fact that we're all psychopaths on the show.
Yes.
That's what he. Yeah.
Yes. All right, so one more baseball one here. Did anyone have anything different, by the way?
Yeah.
Mine was different, but go ahead.
So I would say I'd extend Howard, wait till the season plays out for Utley, and then say goodbye to Hamels.
Me too.
Just because the way I look at it is obviously the Phillies have not been able to replace Ryan Howard for the longest time, and we hope Hoskins can be somewhat that replacement. But I mean, it's been close to 10 years now without a true really good first baseman. While I mean, don't get me wrong, I loved Utley, but like when he would get hurt, and it's a shame we couldn't see what he could have did without the injuries. When he would get hurt, they were able to replace him and still stay on top and still be a top team. But like when Howard went down and we missed him for the beginning of the following season after the Achilles, you really saw the downfall in this franchise and how much they really struggled with that the big piece in the middle of the lineup. And I mean, just like 2007 when you had Tadahito Iguchi replace Utley, you still were able to stay afloat, and then you end up winning the division. And then obviously, I know Polanco is a good player, but when you bring him back, he's able to cover some ground at second. So like just from what we were able to see in the replacements there, I think Howard was the biggest part of that team.
The only reason I don't agree with that, and the only reason I didn't pick what you were thinking, because I was thinking the same thing, bringing Howard back would be better. The only reason I'm agreeing with everything Rob said and taking Utley and reevaluating Howard is because Utley grew up in LA as a Dodgers fan, and if you guaranteed one of Howard or Utley and then the other one you had to test free agency but you wanted him back, there's a higher chance in my eyes that Utley was more inclined to leave than Howard was. Does that make sense? Like in my eyes, I feel like Utley would be more like, I don't know, LA's offering me a lot of money and I lived in LA, like I like it there, I like the climate, whatever. Like Howard would, like I felt like embraced Philly more. Like I feel like he loved the city more, and I feel like he'd be more inclined to stay in free agency if we gave him the right deal.
So my entire philosophy behind this is, now, despite the fact that I don't particularly love Ryan Howard and I really don't love Cole Hamels, the peak of Howard, as we just said, is nearly unmatched. I mean, his 5.5 year run there was unbelievable. And you don't just duplicate that. Like, it just doesn't happen. So to me, you set the market with Howard just as you did in reality. You give him that deal because he's going to command an assload of money. You let Utley play out to the end of that year, and second basemen at that time, and still, truthfully, are a way cheaper contract than what a first baseman would be. So if you needed to commit, for argument's sake, $125 million to Ryan Howard there, you could still, when the rest of that market plays out, as we saw it did, and you start seeing those mega deals of 10 years, and you start seeing, $225 million contracts, suddenly that looks like a bargain. And you can afford to overpay Chase a little bit and guarantee that he doesn't test, Southern California again. He doesn't go back over to where he, grew up. Ultimately, I think you could get both of those guys, keep them here through their prime at the most reasonable price possible. So that's why I would go with the same picks that Andrew went with there.
Okay, that makes sense.
All right, so I'm going to go with actually two more baseball ones. So first, and this is just a quick one, only because I actually love this question. It's so dumb, but it's fun. You can always tell when rookies get called up that they get a number that was just kind of like thrown to them. When you think of like a rookie in their first jersey with the shittiest number possible, because it always plays out that way, what is your ultimate rookie number, like your rookie call-up number, so a number that's never going to stick, and your ultimate superstar number? When you think of, if I think of a superstar in baseball, what's the number that I would attach to that?
Oh, man. Well, my call-up number, I think you all know where I'm going with this. I'm going 69.
Jesus.
And nobody said nice. Damn it.
No. That's because the joke was made earlier in our meeting by Scott.
Yeah, but it wasn't made here on the show. All right, anyway, I'm going with
sorry,
69.
try it again. Say it 69 again. Say it.
69.
Yeah, we'll see. No one was going to play.
You guys are killing me.
Doesn't play.
All right.
So
well,
ultimate rookie number, 69 for Rob.
Yeah. Nice.
That was when everyone needed to say nice. That would have been fucking gold. Had all four of you done that. Missed opportunity, but keep going.
Come on, guys. You're all disappointments. Anyway. Superstar number, the one that resonates with me the most because he's the superstar here in Philadelphia right now, is number 3. Bryce Harper, and then you could go to basketball. Allen Iverson were the number 3 as well. That's a big superstar number. I feel like pretty much throughout every sport, but really Bryce Harper, number 3. That's the superstar number.
For me, sorry.
No, you're good. You can go ahead.
No, I was going to say for me, my rookie number would be, just because it was the year I was born, I would just do 96 for when I was early on in camp. And then my star number, just because it was a number I always liked, would be number 8. And that obviously was worn by a lot of good people in Ripken, Yastrzemski, Yogi, and Joe.
I'll never put Cal Ripken in a conversation on this podcast again. Freaking phony.
That was worn by many. He's great.
Ripken? He's the most selfish player in the history of the game. Whatever. Keep going.
So was Jordan.
What? What?
Uh-oh.
Why are we crossing sports? 1, 2, oh my God, man. So he has this Iron Man record, right? He's played, what was it? 2,076 games in a row or something ridiculous. Does anyone have the number?
Something. I don't know.
We're
not an Orioles podcast.
We're not an Orioles podcast because it's a dog shit organization. And also, do you know how selfish you got to be when you're not freaking healthy to go out there and be a 30% version of yourself just because you wanted to keep your Iron Man streak going? You go out there and you waste a bench position. You don't go on the fucking DL at the time when it was called what it should always remain to be called. It's absurd. That guy's an ass. Screw him.
That's a really strange reason to dislike Cal Ripken.
I hate just selfish players who do things for their own what they're going to be
Because a
remembered
lot of
by.
people, some people like people for that flip side. Like you play through injuries. Utley played through injuries. We all
No, he
kind of
didn't.
for that. Yes, he did.
Oddly had a degenerative knee injury, but he missed
Yeah,
a
but the
hell of a lot of
At the
games.
end of the year, we had that hip thing that he never told anybody about. At the end of the year, you found out he had a bad hip the whole freaking season or something with his waist. He didn't tell us
When
about
he got realigned because of his knee injuries that kept him out of 45 games.
So, I mean, Utley played through
Like,
a
he
lot.
played hurt, but, like, he missed time when it came to the point where it was massively, massively, massively affecting things. Cal Ripken was just like, nah, I'm gonna go out there and play one inning today just to keep this streak alive, and then I'm gonna casually come out and say, no, I'm gonna take the day off. That's absurd. Screw Cal Ripken and Iron Man stuff. It's just dumb. But anyway, 8 is a good number though. Like, not to get totally off topic, it is a good number. It's the wrong number for a superstar, but it is a good number. Ultimate rookie numbers, 74. Rookie call-up number is 74 is disgusting. That is just an awful thing. And the absolute best number, especially in baseball, when you think of superstars, it's 24. Like, that's just the easiest number to immediately think of superstars.
I disagree with that. But
What in the dick? What are your numbers?
well, okay, so I don't know.
I'm sending you a jersey with the number 24 on it.
That's true. Well, yeah, you're right.
I know I am.
No, didn't you wear? Oh no, you're sending me the Johnson jersey. Remember?
Who am I? What am I sending you?
You said Randy Johnson. Is
that what I'm sending you?
Yeah. I was like,
All right.
wait. Randy Johnson didn't wear number 24. No,
Okay.
but I don't know the exact criteria of the rookie number you're talking about. Like what exactly you
Just
want?
a shitty, ugly number on a jersey.
I think the ugliest number, which is the funniest, is 79. Which when I think of that, I think of Carter Hart. It's funny. Yeah, but I think the coolest one is 80, and I kind of hope when Alec Boehm gets called up, I hope he keeps number 80.
Oh my God!
I kind of think that
stay number 80
I know, but how cool? Like nobody wears number 80.
because it's a dog shit number.
But anyway, the true, if we're talking about today's baseball, the true greatest number is 27. One of the best players on every team is
I
number
love
27.
Placido Polanco.
Scott
No,
Roll on the
Aaron
Cardinals.
Nola. Come on. For us, it's Aaron Nola. It's Mike Trout. And I'm very sorry, this should have been brought up a year ago, Jose Altuve. It's that you go Giancarlo Stanton. Like you go down the line and
Vlad,
number 27 is Vlad too. Back in the day, like
All right.
27
so you have
was
posed a wonderful argument.
and this is I wanted
Props
to bring
to you.
this up for a topic for another podcast, but like we go by like the all-time number team. Like we pick what team or we pick a number or whatever it is, and we field the all-time team for that number.
I'm in.
But that's a topic for another podcast.
100% in. Honestly, we could just make that the forefront of every single podcast and just say this is this podcast.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that's quality, and then we just recycle it again.
Give
Maybe do it by decade.
give the oh my god, what is it? Give the assignment to somebody for each pod, and then we cycle through everybody.
I'm in. I'm writing that one down. This is my acrylic haze. It's going to kick in. I'm going to forget what the hell I said. All right. So we're going to end this one with just a couple quick non-baseball related questions. People do always get a kick out of these. We got a couple ridiculous ones in. So I'm going to ask the most ridiculous one first because I think it's going to cause the most awkward silence, and we live for that here. So, and again, it's for all of you, so whoever has answers, just immediately chime in. Would you rather discuss your last sexual encounter with your mother in specific detail, or mistakenly call your partner mom during the act?
Oh, I'm going with the second option there. Because
You want to call the person you're sleeping with mom?
I don't know if I want to hear this reasoning.
No, because all right, my mom is the most Catholic of Catholic persons. So if I ever described a sexual thing to my mother, she would probably die of a heart attack.
Oh, man. I don't like how easily you answered this question. I got to be honest. I hope everyone else struggles here. That's weird, man. I'm sorry.
I don't struggle with this. I tell Sabrina all the time because she always, says stuff like if I'm being like irresponsible or lazy or something, she'll like try and get me to do something and like complain that I'm lazy or something. And I always say, okay, mom. So I think that would be, a lot
In
less
the
awkward.
bedroom.
Oh yeah, no, but I'm saying like it would be a lot less awkward because I've said that to her before.
You know what?
Also-
your homework assignment is to try it.
And that's part of the other criteria. I can't remember the last time, so I wouldn't be able to describe that.
Goddamn quarantine. Jesus. Well, regardless, I am disappointed at the fact that both of you immediately have responses. The fact that they're also each different is weird too.
It's kind of the same answer.
Huh?
It's the same answer.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Is it? Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same answer.
No, you're right. He just phrased it wrong.
Same answer for different reasons.
Same answer, different reasons. There we go. Still, that's absurd. You people.
Mine would have to be the second one too, because there's no chance I'm on the same boat as Rob. I couldn't explain any of that to my mom. Mine would have to be the second one because it would be a lot less awkward. Plus, you can always find another woman. You can't find another mother.
That's actually a really quality last line there, Borg. Now here's where I have a problem. I put my mother through so much shit. I do not care. I will play as many practical jokes on her as I possibly can because she's the most gullible human on the planet. I love her to death. She's insane, though, and she believes absolutely everything. So I could actually, in vivid detail, explain to her a sexual encounter that me and Stephanie had the night before, and she would just say, "Have you no shame? Why do you always tell me these things?" And not think anything of it anymore. It's amazing. So that if he had to do it, there is no way where I'm sitting there and turning her over and being like, "Mom, turn over." Screw up right now. That legitimately sounded like someone just yacked. That was
I think
awful.
if I emphasized it to where it's like I'm making a joke, I think like it
I
would
just
be
imagine you in
laughed
a
at.
Pee Wee Herman voice right now. That's horrible. What a terrible question that was.
Sabrina, I'm so sorry when you hear this.
Also, her name's Sabrina.
Yes.
That's odd.
I've never said her name before. That's yeah.
No, you have not.
Stephanie,
All right.
Sabrina, Shane, Sean. I mean,
Oh, there you go.
all S's. Scott.
Yeah, Scott, and I don't know who he's out with tonight, but who knows. All right. All right, so this one is for the pasta people, the people who are good. Specific sauce. Are you guys red sauce, vodka sauce, pesto, lemon, like a white wine sauce, lemon garlic white wine sauce, or Alfredo? What is the best sauce for your pasta?
I'm going red sauce. Nothing. I really like homemade red sauce. My mom and dad make it a lot, so I kind of grown around that too. So I definitely say red sauce, and I think it's the best thing. Also, just not only on the pasta, but you get like the garlic bread on the side, and then you dip the garlic bread in with the red sauce on the pasta, and it's just a tremendous all around dinner.
I respect that. Anyone different from the red sauce?
Pesto.
Well, when
I love pesto.
when I actually do eat pasta, I do fuck with the pesto.
He do fuck with though. That was ridiculous. Oh, all right, man. Well, thanks for fucking with pesto. Pesto is delicious, by the way. It's such an underutilized thing.
Pesto and then vodka's a second. Not close second, but second.
Not a close second. I put pesto, like I'll make homemade pesto, and then I'll take like 2 spoonfuls of it and throw that into like a
Like
vodka sauce.
homemade pesto or like
Yeah, not
like a packet.
correct. Homemade. I home make almost everything I eat.
Okay.
But yeah, that's a strong man. I'm blanking on words right now. Good selections, everyone. I'm blanking on everything. I think I'm rapidly approaching the end of this. So we're gonna go with just one more. for the non-baseball related. So if you are at a barbecue, where are you most likely to be found? Are you most likely the guy at the grill, the guy who's pretending to be friends with the guy at the grill, playing horseshoes or some other party game, inside, in the shade, or somewhere else? Where are you most likely found during a barbecue?
I'm like a hybrid between the guy at the grill and the guy who's always playing the party games. I mean, I don't know how I do it. I somehow find a way to do it every single time. I manage the grill. I get all the burgers and all the ribs and whatnot that we have cooked to, I don't know, maybe not perfection, but I'd say I do a fairly good job with it. But in the meantime, when I'm not doing that, I'm always out playing Can Jam. I'm always out playing beer pong or whatever games are going on out there. So I'm a hybrid between the two of them. But if I had to pick one, I'm the guy at the grill.
Okay. Everybody wants to be the guy at the grill, but very few can be the guy at the grill. So I'll be honest, Rob, you ain't that guy. You're the party guy, and Vegas tells us so. So I think your hybrid should be resulted just to the one. I think that you should be probably running the games. That is probably ensuring a damn good evening for most people. Who else is answering this one? Where are you guys most likely found at a barbecue?
I would say for me, I'm most likely found playing the games and just wherever everybody's just like vibing and talking and having a good time.
Vibing?
I like
That's
What's
a
happening on
violation
this
right there.
show?
I like being in the part of the party that's like the nice area, the cool area of the party. If there's a dance floor, probably going to be alcohol, so you can get into it. So I like being in the very lively part of the parties, and I'm not the best cook, so I should not be by the grill. So I would say where the life of the party is where I would like to be.
I respect the honesty, sir.
So wait, is vibing, is it or is not a violation?
So much has been a violation tonight. I mean, me not using milk in cereal is clearly a violation. Sean
Yeah, but
did
that's
something.
A violation of
recall.
the story.
I know, but like, there's so many things that just at this point, it's going to make listeners say, what the hell am I listening to this show for? Like, what is wrong with that individual? I've said 15 different things tonight. I keep stumbling on words. I'm a damn mess. He just said the word vibing. I dislike that. Rob used the word or the number 69 3 different times. Not one of us, ooh, shit, almost dropped the mic. Not one of us said nice, all corny afterwards. I said it in joking fashion, and all of you dropped the ball when saying it. It was just, this has been a nightmare of an episode. That's all I'm saying. An absolute nightmare. But smartass, where are you usually found, Sean?
I don't go within like a 20-foot radius of the grill, unless the cooler's there. So
That's fair.
yeah, so you can either find me at the party games, whatever it may be, if it's washers, if it's horseshoes, if it's Can Jam, if it's the golf balls on the strings. Whatever it is, I'm either there or I'm kicked back in a chair just drinking a beer talking to people.
All right. And Andrew, how about you?
I'd say probably at the games. I love cornhole. I definitely think that'd be where I'd be found. I'm always trying to play those kind of games at parties. A place I would want to be, though, is the grill. I think I'm definitely not at that point. Not the best cook, but definitely something I kind of want to learn, and something I kind of did during quarantine. It was like one of the fun things we did at my house. My mom, so I have 4 siblings, so 3 of them are at home, and my one brother has moved out. But we kind of like, my mom had us all pick a day each week, and like we all kind of rotated cooking. So that was like a fun part of quarantine when I was home, is like I got to learn a little bit on a lot of the cooking kind of stuff. But in terms of my family, my dad would always be at the grill, so kind of watching him and stuff, I kind of learned a little bit. So that's definitely a spot I'd want to be at.
Yeah, man, I respect that. My mom always told me I was never going to be the tallest, most handsome, or anything, so I needed to learn how to do something to attract a female. She said I might as well learn how to cook. So I found a girl who doesn't eat. But yeah, man, my house was pretty similar growing up. So that's cool that you way to make the most out of your quarantine. You read a ton of books, you cook some food. Good for you, man. That's a quality time spent there. Yeah, man. I would only be found at the grill, mainly because you would not know it from this show. I am so introverted and I dislike people so much. I'm so awkwardly shy and quiet. I just like to just do my thing, make good food, and make sure people are happy and good. and that's kind of about it. So I'm usually just the guy at the grill. And Rob, if you're in your hybrid moment where you're trying to be near the guy at the grill, don't. Just go run a game and win. Play for money.
I'm perfectly fine with that. And by the way, while we're on this, while we mentioned Can Jam, I believe I owe a couple embarrassing stories, and we don't have time for them, I guess, on this show. But I have probably at least 2 or 3 good embarrassing stories involving Can Jam. So
please put that in the notes in your phone, because I do want to hear those. But you are right. We are rapidly approaching the end of this particular pod. Sundays always go a little bit long. We never know just how long they're going to go. Usually we try to have the full team of 7 here. We're only able to have 5 tonight. But it was a good time. We learned interesting things about each other. We learned some things that we probably never needed to hear again. Everyone's going to go watch Adventureland and understand why Kristen Stewart's a babe. A lot of good shit came from this one. But thank you guys. Seriously, this is good getting back behind the mic. I'm glad to hear everyone's doing well on this show. We hope all of our listeners are also doing well. Boric, you always do this. I'm going to put you on the spot again, but you always say it really, really well. So I'm going to kick this over to you for just a message to the people who are just needing a positive word at this point. So go ahead, man.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I don't need Adventureland just to tell Kristen Stewart's a babe. You can just look at her and tell that as well. But moving on to wrapping it up, for everyone, just stay well, stay positive, and enjoy the time with your families like Andrew did. I know he really enjoyed it, so you get some uncharacteristic time with your families being at home this much. Enjoy it, and we'll be back to things hopefully sooner rather than later, and hopefully, like we said, we'll have some baseball by July, so just stay positive, everybody, and stay together, keep supporting each other, and support as many local businesses as you can, because they definitely need it.
Absolutely. One of the other people that we always want to throw a little support to is our intro-outro music. So they have sent us something for our introduction. We're reviewing it. We're gonna see whether or not we're going to roll with it or not. But that is the Jackdolls. So they are phenomenal. Their intro-outro music. It's www.jackdolls.com. Continue to support them any way that you can. They've seen their sales actually spike a bit, so we appreciate it if it's some of you guys, and I know that they appreciate it as well. But that is going to wrap this one up for CTP Podcast, because we are always chasing a pennant here in Philadelphia. We will see you guys on Tuesday. I think it's the next day that we are releasing. So Tuesday evening we'll have another show for you, and we'll be back with a half team here. Other than that, everyone stay well and stay safe.
Through Killarney, now I'm back to hitching with the wind. But if Mickey Flynn should ever find me, I'll throw me caution all behind me and square off on that son of a bitch again. He cracked open a river too, he beat me Sunday through and through, danced a jig over my unconscious frame. I won me healthy sheriff fights, well lucky son, still have me life since Mickey Flynn beat me dumb and lame.